Arjun, imagine for a second that you want to build a computer. Not just assemble parts, but to have a hand in everything, from the silicon chip's fundamental language all the way up to the operating system, to have complete freedom and transparency.
It's the ultimate dream for many engineers, a truly open stack. It's also exceptionally rare.
Exactly, which is why a recent announcement from the Debian project feels so significant. They've officially decided to support a brand new CPU architecture. It's called LoongArch.
Right. Specifically, the 64-bit variant, Loong64. The plan is for it to become an official architecture in the next release, Debian 14, codenamed Forky.
So let's start at the beginning. What is LoongArch? It's not a name most of us hear alongside Intel, AMD, or ARM.
It's not. LoongArch is a new instruction set architecture, or ISA, developed in China by Loongson Technology. Think of an ISA as the basic vocabulary of a processor. It's a RISC architecture, which means it uses a reduced instruction set, similar in philosophy to ARM or RISC-V.
So it's not a copy of an existing American design.
Correct. Its heritage is in the MIPS architecture, which Loongson licensed for years, but LoongArch is a clean slate. They developed their own independent, unencumbered instruction set. This isn't an x86 clone or an ARM license core. It's a genuinely new contender in the processor space.
Okay, a new CPU architecture. That's a massive undertaking. But why is it a big deal that Debian is supporting it? We live in a world dominated by just 2 or 3 architectures. Why does adding one more matter?
It matters for a few key reasons, and it gets to the very heart of what Debian is. First, there's the principle of architectural diversity. Relying on only 1 or 2 ISAs, controlled by just a few companies, creates a fragile monoculture. It stifles innovation and concentrates control.
A single point of failure, but for the entire computing industry.
Precisely. Supporting new architectures fosters competition and resilience, and for Debian, this is core to their identity. Their motto is the universal operating system. If you look at their ports page, they have a long history of supporting a vast range of hardware, from tiny embedded systems to massive mainframes. It's in their DNA.
And for those who aren't deep in the open source world, remind us why Debian itself is such a cornerstone.
It's one of the oldest, largest, and most respected open source projects on the planet. It's a completely volunteer-run organization governed by a social contract and a constitution. It's the bedrock that other hugely popular systems like Ubuntu are built upon. So when the Debian project officially adopts a new architecture, it's a powerful statement. It signals that LoongArch is stable, the tools are mature, and it's ready for serious use.
You said ready for serious use. That makes it sound like this was an enormous amount of work. I can't even imagine how you'd start. How do you port an entire operating system with its tens of thousands of programs to a language it doesn't speak yet?
With a multi-year, highly coordinated effort. It's what's known as a bootstrap process. Before you can even think about Debian, you need the foundational tools. That means getting LoongArch support upstream into the projects that everything else depends on.
Upstream, meaning the original authors of the software?
Exactly. The first major hurdle was the Linux kernel itself. LoongArch support was merged into the mainline kernel in version 5.19. That was a huge milestone. Then you need the compilers like GCC and the core libraries like glib to understand the new architecture. Once you have those, you face a classic chicken and egg problem.
You need a compiler to compile the compiler.
Yes, you use a process called cross-compiling, where you build LoongArch programs on an existing x86 or ARM machine. You create a tiny, minimal set of core packages, then you move on to actual LoongArch hardware and use that minimal system to rebuild itself. This proves the port is self-hosting. From there, you just keep compiling.
You say just keep compiling like it's simple, but Debian has what, 50 or 60,000 packages?
It does. And that's the next phase, the full archive rebuild. Automated systems continuously try to build every single package for the new architecture. According to the porting team statistics for Forky, they've already successfully built over 96% of the entire Debian archive for Loong64. That is an immense achievement and a testament to the portability of open source software.
That number is staggering. And it's not just getting it to run, right? I've heard you talk about Debian's obsession with reproducible builds.
Right, that's another layer. The goal is that when you compile the same source code twice, you get a bit-for-bit identical binary file. It's a huge security and verification feature, and it makes the entire porting process much more robust. You know the result is correct, not just a fluke of the compiler.
So we have the software. What about the hardware? Can I go out and buy a LoongArch laptop?
You can, though it's not as simple as walking into a store. The Debian Wiki has a hardware qualification page. It lists things like desktop motherboards using the Loongson 3A500 and the newer 3A6000 CPUs, which are roughly competitive with mid-range consumer chips from a few years ago. There are also server-grade CPUs like the 3C5000L. There are laptops and all-in-one PCs available primarily in the Chinese market for now.
And from a technical perspective, what makes these chips interesting?
One interesting detail is the Application Binary Interface, or ABI. It defines how software interacts with the operating system. For Loong64, they settled on the LP64D ABI. The LP64 part is standard, meaning longs and pointers are 64-bit data types. But the D is key.
What does the D stand for?
It means the standard calling convention uses hardware registers for double precision floating point numbers. This is a subtle but important decision. It signals that high-performance computing and scientific workloads were a primary consideration in the design. It's optimized for fast math, not just integer operations.
So, bringing it all together, who is this for? Who are the users? Is this just a symbolic gesture, or does it have real-world implications for people outside of China or the core Debian developer community?
I think the implications are broad. For software developers everywhere, it's a new target to test their code against. It encourages writing portable, clean code that doesn't make assumptions about the underlying architecture. If your code runs on x86, ARM, and LoongArch, it's probably very well-written code.
It's a forcing function for quality.
Yeah, it really is. And for the rest of us, it's a tangible example of the power of open source to act as a global collaboration platform. You have an architecture developed in China being embraced and validated by a global community of engineers. It transcends politics and corporate interests. It's about a shared goal, building good, free, and reliable software for everyone on any hardware.
It's really a story about creating more options, more choices. In a world that feels like it's constantly consolidating, this is a move towards diversification.
That's exactly it. By making LoongArch a first-class citizen, the Debian project is sending a message that the future of computing doesn't have to be a duopoly. It can be a vibrant, diverse ecosystem.
So the big takeaway here seems to be that what looks on the surface like a very niche technical project is actually a profound statement about resilience and freedom in technology.
Precisely. This ensures that innovation can come from anywhere, and that powerful tools like Debian are available to everyone, regardless of the CPU inside their machine.
A universal operating system, living up to its name. Arjun, thank you.